Hello friends, welcome back to the channel, wherever in the world you're watching from. Today we're going on a journey, one that starts with a bitter spicy drink in ancient Mexico and ends in your pocket. Let's get into it. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine you are holding a clay cup. It is warm in your hands. Inside, there is a dark liquid, almost black. It smells of earth and something hot like pepper. You take a drink. It is bitter, very strong, not like anything you have tasted before. There is no sugar, no sweetness, just this strong, deep taste in your mouth. You are not drinking this for fun. You are drinking it because it is special, because only important people can drink it, because the gods, in your belief, are watching you. This is Mexico, around the year 600. And what is in that cup will one day become the most popular food in the world. The path from that bitter drink to the chocolate bar in your pocket today is not simple. It is a story full of accidents, mistakes, and normal people who did not give up. Most people who eat chocolate every day do not know where it came from. So let's go back to the start. The first people to use cacao were probably the Olmecs. They were a group of people who lived in Mexico around 1500 BCE, more than 3,000 years ago. They did not write down how they used cacao, so we must use science to learn about it. Scientists found a chemical called theobromine inside old Olmec pots. This chemical is only in cacao. We do not learn this from books or pictures. We learn it from chemistry, from small invisible marks left in old clay. It feels strange to know that the only proof of something so important is a small chemical sign in a piece of pottery. The Maya came after the Olmecs. They used cacao even more. For them, cacao was connected to their gods and to their ideas about life and death. Their holy book, the Popol Vuh, says cacao was a gift from the gods to people. Cacao beans were also used as money. 3 beans could buy a small meal. 10 beans could buy a rabbit. 100 beans could buy a person. Think about that. The same plant that makes your afternoon snack was once used to buy human lives. This is not a small fact. It shows how important this plant was to these old societies, a plant we now buy without thinking, at a petrol station. The Aztecs became the most powerful group in the area in the 1300s and 1400s. They made cacao even more special. Their king, Moctezuma II, drank 50 cups every day, the stories say. The drink was called xocolotl, which means bitter water. Only warriors, priests, and rich people could drink it. Normal people almost never tasted it. Women were often not allowed to drink it at all. Here is something that surprises many people. The Aztecs could not grow cacao themselves. Their city, Tenochtitlan, was too high and too cold for cacao trees, so they made other groups give them cacao as a tax. Whole towns had to send thousands of beans to the empire every year. This drink was built on religion and kept going by force. Can you imagine being forced to give away something so valuable every year to an empire that did not care about you? Then the Spanish came. Hernán Cortés arrived in Mexico in 1519. By 1521, the Aztec Empire was gone. The Spanish took gold, silver, land, and, almost by accident, cacao too. But Europeans did not like it at first. One Spanish priest wrote that it tasted like food for pigs. Too bitter, too strange, too different from anything they knew. For many years, cacao stayed quiet in the background. It was carried on ships, tried carefully, and mostly forgotten. except by a few traders who saw something special in it. What changed everything was one simple thing: sugar. Someone, we still do not know exactly who or when, decided to add sugar to the bitter drink, then cinnamon, then vanilla. The hot pepper was removed. It became easier to make. And suddenly, Europeans wanted it. By the middle of the 1600s, chocolate houses were opening all over Europe. London alone had hundreds of them by 1700. These were places where people came to talk, share news, and do business over a warm drink, like the coffee shops of today. But no one called them that yet. The drink had crossed an ocean, lost its old religious meaning, and become something completely new. And almost no one drinking it knew where it really came from. For most of these centuries, chocolate was only a drink. Solid chocolate did not exist yet. There was a technical problem. Cacao beans have a lot of fat, called cacao butter. When you grind the beans, the result is oily, rough, and cannot be shaped into anything solid. Chocolate makers across Europe tried for many generations to fix this. They all failed. The texture would not work, and every try ended the same way: a greasy, unstable mess that no one wanted to eat. If this story has surprised you so far, leave a comment and tell us which part you liked most. We read all of them. Then, in 1828, a Dutch scientist named Coenraad van Houten made a machine that could separate the fat from the dry cacao powder. It sounds like a small achievement, but it was actually a door that had been closed for hundreds of years. About 20 years later, a British company called J.S. Fry and Sons understood something important. If you took that fat and mixed it back into the powder with sugar, you could pour it into a mold and let it become hard. In 1847, they made what most historians call the first modern chocolate bar. Not a drink. A solid thing you could hold, break into pieces, and eat one small piece at a time. And here is one of the strangest facts in this whole story. Cacao butter melts at almost exactly 37 degrees Celsius. That is the temperature inside the human mouth. It is not an accident that chocolate feels the way it does when you eat it. The science was always there, waiting for someone to use it. After this, the chocolate industry grew fast. In the 1870s, a Swiss man named Daniel Peter found a way to mix powdered milk into chocolate. This made something smoother and sweeter than anything before, what we now call milk chocolate. At almost the same time, a chocolate maker named Rudolf Lindt invented a process called conching. This means mixing and adding air to chocolate paste for many hours, until all the bitterness disappears and the texture becomes soft, almost like silk. These were not famous scientists working in big laboratories. They were normal people with real problems. They tried, they failed, and they tried again until something finally worked. Before we get to the end of this story, leave a comment and tell us, which moment in chocolate's history would you most like to have seen yourself? By the 1900s, what started as a sacred, exclusive drink for Aztec kings had become something every normal person on Earth could buy for a few coins. Soldiers received chocolate as part of their food during World War II. Scientists began to study the natural chemicals inside it: theobromine, flavonoids, phenylethylamine, and found real health benefits in cacao. The Maya had understood this hundreds of years earlier, long before science had the words to explain it. Today, the global chocolate industry makes between 130 and 150 billion euros every year. About 40 to 50 million people depend on growing cacao to make a living. Most of them live in West Africa, in Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana, working long hours in hard conditions, far away from the clean supermarket shelves where the final product sits. The distance between a farmer standing in a hot, wet forest and a customer choosing between chocolate flavors in a European shop is huge, in miles, in money, and in how visible it is. That gap is also part of this story, even when it is easy to forget. But here is something else that is true. Every piece of chocolate you have ever eaten has traveled an amazing distance to reach you. 3,500 years of history, many different civilizations, countless people who tasted something bitter and strange and decided it was worth understanding better, even when no one around them agreed. The Olmecs did not know where cacao was going. Neither did the Maya, the Aztecs, Van Houten, or the Fry family. They only knew what they held in their hands. They only knew that it mattered. Some of the most powerful things in human history started out looking like nothing special, bitter, strange, easy to walk past. And then someone decided to keep going anyway.